Mill forced me to sign away my inheritance or she'd tell my husband the truth. So I let her announce I'd TIV at Thanksgiving before playing the security footage. Now she's living in a motel. So my mother-in-law, she tried to pull a quick one on me. She wants to tell my secret to my husband. And, well, the joke's on me, I guess, because I didn't know I had a secret. Well, apparently, I've had one for quite some time because she caught me red-handed. And she says if I don't give over my inheritance, which I just got from my grandmother, she's going to go to my husband, her baby boy, and let him know everything. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna cower down and give away my money. Go ahead, go tell him. My husband, Max, and I have been married for a few years now. You know, our relationship has been blissful. My experience with his mother, man, it's been a different story. She's always made me feel like I'm not good enough for her son, not good enough for the family, and she was constantly making demands and trying to control my every move. I've tried to brush it off and make excuses for her behavior, but it's getting to the point where I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. I met Max in college. It was love at first sight. He was a senior while I was a first year. Our first meeting was actually quite embarrassing. I was late to my very first class, and just as I was rushing to meet up, I hit my foot on a loose paved stone and face planted into a trash can, right in front of Max. However, he was a good sport about it, and he teased me good-naturedly about it, and then took me out for breakfast. That was the beginning of our love story. I found him to be sweet, charming, attentive. It was easy to fall in love with the man. Even though he graduated before I did, we ensured that the distance did not come between us. He would visit often. I would go over to his place for holidays, and on my graduation, he actually proposed. It was the easiest yes I'd ever given. That Christmas, he took me to meet his family. There, I met them and Vince and, well, his mother and his 3 brothers. They were welcoming except for his mother, who seemed a little reserved towards me. No matter how I tried, she refused to warm up to me. Instead, she seemed to make me go through 1,000,000 tests. I say tests because at the time, I could hardly understand her outrageous demands. I could only chalk it up to her trying to see if I was a good fit for her son. 3 months after Max got down on one knee, we spoke the vows that bound us as a man and wife in my parents' church. We moved into a house 2 blocks away from his parents' house. Everything was blissful, as perfect as it could be. At least, until his mother resumed her demands. Out of the blue, I would receive calls from her asking me to pick up something for her or asking me to come over to help her. You know, just prepare for a particular dish for her friends. And I use the word help loosely because most of the time, I end up doing all the work while she paints her nails or gossip with her friends over the phone. Then she starts dropping off her and Vince's dirty laundry at the house for me to do. She never checked to see if it was occupied. Instead, every time she came with her annoying demands, she would just always ask, "You would do this for your mother-in-law, wouldn't you?" And before I could even reply, she would say, "You can't be so selfish that you would be unwilling to assist your husband's mother, can you?" I mean, again, before I could open my mouth, she would state that her son would never have married a woman who would easily turn her back on the family. And then I would grit my teeth, forcing myself to keep from pointing out that she has never treated me as such. Family? An elevated house. Help, yes, but not family. She does not even treat me as your son's wife. Just somebody to run over. Well, after some time, she stepped up to asking me for money, just like changes to help dear mother-in-law. And perhaps I should have mentioned all these to Max from the very beginning. Oh, man, but who likes coming between a mother and a son in such an early marriage? I mean, I didn't like it. Then things took a turn for the worse just a few days ago when I received news that my maternal grandfather, Jack, he had passed away and left me a sizable inheritance. By a sizable, what I mean by that is, 1,000,000? Yes, I was the heir. That's right. Being the only child of his only child made me not just my grandfather's only grandchild, but, dare I say, his favorite. However, the amount of his inheritance, oh, wow, wowed both Max and me so that we could not keep it to ourselves. When we went over to his parents' house for a family dinner 2 days ago, we excitedly shared the news. Everybody was excited for us and we talked about how this would be a great help for the family. Max and I had just started and little did we know that his mother had other plans in store for us. The next day, after Max and I shared the news about the money I had just acquired, well, his mother came over to our house and demanded that I sign over the inheritance to her if I wanted the both of us to be friends anytime soon. And I refused, but she threatened to expose my secret to Max? Okay, I was obviously confused. I did not have any secret, but one look in her eyes revealed that she was dead serious. And by dead serious, I mean, she was probably lying about something. I can't sign over my inheritance, but I also can't allow her to destroy my marriage, which it looks like she has every intention of doing if I do not bow to her demands. I've just been, racking my brain, about every single thing it could be. She stormed out of the house promising to come back tomorrow, trying to think of what secret could possibly be in her mind that she's thinking about. I've been with Max since college, and I've never kept any secrets from him. Nope, we've always been open and honest with each other. And, so that I don't know. What could she possibly have on me? To be honest, I'm at a loss for what to do. Part of me wants to confront her and demand to know what secret she's even talking about. But another part of me is scared of what she might say and how it could affect my marriage. I've considered talking to Max about it, but I shot that thought down for the same reason why I did not involve him in the previous crazy demand. She asked me some wild stuff. I don't want to come between him and his mother. As I write this, I've realized that my hesitation to involve Max might also stem from fear. Fear that if push came to shove, Max would believe his mother over me. He would choose her over me. Even as I admit this, I'm covered in shame and guilt. What kind of wife thinks such of her husband? I've been feeling like I'm walking on eggshells waiting for her to make her next move. I feel like I'm being backed into a corner, and I don't know how to escape. She threats on me, but they've just left me feeling anxious and uncertain. I'm not sure what she's capable of or what she might do next. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind, and I just wish I knew what her plan was so I could prepare myself. But for now, I'm just stuck in this limbo, waiting for the other shoe to drop, and all I know is that I need to protect myself and my marriage, but how? What do I do? Please, your advice would help. Update number 1, 3 days later. Hello, everyone. It's been 3 days since I shared the issue between me and my mother-in-law. I just wanted to start by saying thank you to everyone who took the time to respond with advice and support. Your kind words and encouragement brought tears to my eyes and gave me the comfort to knowing that I'm not alone in this struggle. When I did not give her an answer right away, she starts coming over to my house every day to reiterate her threat. She would show up unannounced with her face twisted in a scowl and demand that I sign over my inheritance to her. I considered telling my husband, Max, about the situation, but something held me back. I felt like this was something I needed to handle on my own, something to establish a boundary that I should have put in place a long time ago. I did not want to drag Max into it, partly because I didn't want him to feel like he had to choose between his mother and me. But there was also this issue of the so-called secret that she had been dangling over my head. I had no idea what she was talking about. And if anybody asked of me, I would say that I did not have a secret that could ruin my marriage. But she was confident and smirking and left me doubting. Was it possible that she had discovered something about me that myself didn't even know? I also considered talking to my parents about the situation, but then I remembered that I'm an adult. I'm a married woman, and capable of making my own decisions. This was my marriage, and that made it my fights. I couldn't just run to my parents every time that I had a problem. So this morning, when she showed up at my doorstep once again, I decided to stand my ground. I told her that I was not going to be signing over my inheritance to her. I also called her out for being selfish and willing to steal the money. That would help her son build his family. She got so mad that her face turned bright red like a tomato that was about to explode. Her eyes turned menacing, and for a moment, I was seized with fear. She told me that she was giving me until Thanksgiving to hand over my inheritance. And then as she turned to storm out of the door, she called me all sorts of names. I was shocked at the words she chose. I had no idea what she was talking about. I am not that. And I know that Max knows that too, obviously. But what we both know won't matter if she finds a way to present me as that to the rest of the family. I've been going about wondering what she could possibly know about me. What secret could she have discovered that would give her the upper hand? I need to find out what's going on and put a stop to it before it's too late. My marriage is at stake, and I won't let her ruin it for me. Update number 2, 4 days later. Hello, everyone. It's me again, and I have another update to share. The first is that I've discovered that if I ever lose my job, a private investigation would not be on my list of jobs to consider. I suck terribly at the sleuthing. These past few days have sworn my nerves and only succeeded in making Max worried about me. However, my sleuthing was not all for naught. I was able to discover what exactly she was holding over my head. After unsuccessfully trying to search her room for any evidence that could point to whatever gave her the confidence to threaten me, yesterday, I decided to challenge her and call her bluff. I invited her over to the house and told her plainly that I knew that she was a liar and that she did not have any secret because I didn't have any secret that Max didn't know. She laughed very fast and said that she had evidence of me being with another man. She was ready to turn it over to Max so that he could know the kind of person he married. I sat in an absolute stunned silence, my mind racing with thoughts of confusion and panic. I was taken back, not just because of the accusation itself, but because I had no recollection of ever doing such a thing. When I asked her where she got such evidence, she smirked and claimed to have her ways. She went on to say that if I was still refusing to do what she wanted, she would make sure everyone knew of my little indiscretion. I felt a wave of fear wash over me. What was she talking about? I didn't remember ever spending time with another man. I'd been faithful to my husband, Max, since the day that we met. Was she just trying to manipulate me, or was there something I was missing? As soon as she left, I started racking my brain trying to remember if there was any truth to her accusation. I thought back at all the times I had been out with friends back in college, all the times I had succumbed to their pleas to accompany them to a party. Had I met someone? Had I done something I didn't even remember? The more I thought about it, the more confused I became. I didn't remember anything out of the ordinary, but what if she was telling the truth? What if I had somehow blocked out a memory, forgotten something? I decided that I need to get to the bottom of it. The more I thought of it, the more I could not shake the feeling that something was off. Her accusations had left me feeling uneasy and uncertain. I didn't know what to believe or what to do next. I can't help but wonder if there's something bigger at play here and if I need to hire a private investigator to look into her accusations. It seems like a drastic measure, but I need to know the truth. Am I really innocent, or is there something I was missing? Update number 3, 4 days later. Hey, guys! Let me just get right into it. Once again, your support has been overwhelming and I just want to say, thank you. And anyways, I'm gonna let you know how grateful I am. Most of you advise that I follow my instincts and hire a PI to look into her accusations, so that's what I do. I never have been more grateful than today. The day after she made that wild claim of having evidence of my infidelity, I hired Philip. So when I explained everything to him, he told me that her sudden evidence was indeed fishy, and most likely it's nothing but a bunch of baloney. He also commended me for being brave enough to want to find out the truth. Even if the truth might not end up being what I wanted to hear, I told him. What? Well, I didn't know if I had to be brave enough to do it. But all I knew was that I did not want to lose my marriage, and I was ready to fight. It's been 2 days since then, and this morning he calls me saying that he had found something and asked if we could meet at a public place. I settled on a popular pub, and he agreed. I drove over and without bothering with pleasantries, he dived into the reason for the call. He told me that he had hacked into her phone and had been able to retrieve a message that she had sent to a strange number. He mentioned something about things not vanishing even though they are deleted from the phone. And I didn't understand the explanation, but I understood that he had been able to get the text message even though she had detected it from her phone. The text message was to a man named Henrik, asking him to meet her at the warehouse, saying that she needed him to help her with something, and she was willing to pay a hefty price. Luckily for him, there was a security camera in front of the warehouse. And well, not only recorded video, but it also captured audio. Then he showed me the video footage. There in black and white, I watched my mother-in-law connive with a man to drug me so that she could take pictures of me and the man being intimate. My stomach soured. The extent of her greed and wickedness astounded me. How can't she, without as much as a please, plan to compromise her son's wife? Philip told me the day and time of the footage and asked if anything remarkable happened to me that day. I didn't have to think hard because I came to the answer. The first day, she came to demand that I sign over the inheritance and she offered to take me to get some coffee. By the time she stood up to leave, I suddenly felt sleepy after drinking the coffee. She noticed it and offered to help me to my room. My mind was scrambled, too scrambled to have noticed that her sudden kindness was a red flag. She not only brought a man to violate me, but she dared to bring him into the home that, well, I shared with Maxi Poo. That woman is despicable, and I would make sure that she would not get away with this. Update number 4, 5 days later. Hey, guys! So today was Thanksgiving, and I'm happy to announce that I have, much to be thankful for. After Philip came to me with evidence of her treachery, I refused to lose my cool when she came in the following days to make her threats over and over again. That's right, she obviously still thought, and she had the upper hand, and I let her to continue to think into oblivion. I mean, after the things that she did to me and the way she planned on humiliating me, she deserved to have a taste of her own medicine. The day before Thanksgiving, she said that she saw that I had refused to come to my senses and do the needful thing by signing the inheritance over to her, and that she had hoped that I had my bag packed because after Thanksgiving, I would no longer be living with her son. I said nothing and just smiled. That only served to infuriate her more, and she stormed out. When Thanksgiving morning arrived, I was almost shaking with anticipation. As we prepared to head to his parents' house, I tried to give Max a heads up. I told him that there was a reason behind whatever might happen that day. He gave me a reassuring look and a kiss, saying nothing could change his mind about me. I thought of how I would have lost such an amazing man if I had not refused to allow, his mom to bully me, and I decided to find out the truth myself. We went over to his parents' house, and his brother was already there. When I offered to help his mother in the kitchen, she declined. So I headed back to the living room to hang out with my husband, my father-in-law, and my brother-in-laws. When I sat beside Max, He shot me a look silently asking why his mother sent me away from the kitchen. Well, and even though I knew the reason, I shrugged like an innocent person. Finally, we were called to the dinner. And after Vince carved the turkey, we started stating that we were grateful for it. Vince went first, followed by his mother, looking delightfully hateful, and she looked into my eyes and said that she was thankful that she was about to discover what kind of, person her son was married to. Everybody went decidedly still. Max asked her what she meant by insulting me, his wife. She replied that I had blinded him, and she was there to open his eyes to the truth. Passing the picture of me and Henrik smooching about, she insisted that I was not a faithful wife. Well, Max got red in the face when he saw the pictures. He turned to me and called me names with confusion. I stood up and explained what she had done. See? She had forgot to tell them all that was part 2. I turned on the television and projected the video footage of my USB drive. She paled when it came on the screen. Looking into Max's eyes, I explained how she had been trying to force me to give her my inheritance, and how when I refused, she drugged me and brought that man into our home. Max jumped to his feet with his eyes hardened as he stared at his mom. Wrapping his arm around my shoulders, he commanded her to never have anything to do with him ever again. Then he announced that we were both taking our leave, but Vincent stopped us saying that the one he needed to leave here was her. Then he snapped at his own mother to get her things and get out. Thanksgiving dinner after that was subdued, punctuated with inconsequential conversations. But I, was with my hubby. My heart was full. Final update 3 days later. Oh, boy. Hey, guys, it's me again. After Thanksgiving dinner, Max softly scolded me for not confiding in him sooner about his mother's behavior. I reassured him that he was not responsible for her actions, and he apologized nonetheless. I confessed that I should have told him about her demands earlier, but her threat had left me fearful and confused. Well, Max, he comforted me saying that there was nothing I could do to make him stop loving me. I believed him, and in the spirit of honesty, I shared the other demands that I had made in the past. Max acknowledged that he had noticed some of them, but thought that I was willingly offered to help. I joked that laundry would be the last chore I would willingly offer to help. Well, we shared a laugh, and he reassured me that I never had to fear that he would always choose me over his family. He even quoted the biblical verse about leaving one's parents and cleaving to one's spouse. At his words, I felt my love for him run deep. The next day, which was yesterday, Max's immediate younger brother, Manny, came over to our house with some shocking news. Vince had decided to divorce her. Yep, he told me that I should not even think of feeling guilty of being the cause of the divorce, that the mother had brought this upon herself, that I wholeheartedly agreed to. And he then went on to apologize to Max and me on behalf of his own mom, promising that the rest of the family would never treat me the way that she did. It had been comforting listening to him tell me that he and the rest of the family were on my side. Hearing those words filled me with assurance I didn't even know I needed. As Manny stood there to take his leave, I asked him if he knew where she had been since she left the house. He answered that the last he heard, she was in some motel. He explained that she tried reaching him and his other 2 brothers for help, but they had both washed their hands of her. I mean, can you blame them?